Right, hello. Basically, I hope you can hear me because I'm basically doing some preparing for some dinner, and that's basically what I'm going to be having. Now, it probably don't look very appetising when you look at it, but basically what it is, it's potatoes, sliced potatoes in gravy. Now, it's very simple. You just have to get a potato, peel it and slice it, and then you cook it in gravy. This is basically some oxo cubes that have been, basically put down into a gravy, and I've done that. I've also added carrots, and as you can see, I have hot dogs in there as well. Although I could have done sausages and made it into like a sort of like a casserole. That's what it's sort of like is. But I call it potatoes in gravy. And what I'm going to be adding to that is basically some dumplings, which are going to be homemade, basically. Oh, and my mum's got a casserole there. That's basically filled with mixed veg and that. Basically, she don't have potatoes in that because she's having the potatoes there boiling for mash. So my mum has mash and I have fried potatoes. And my dad will be having mince with his potatoes, which is there, mince. It does look very thick, but it's alright, with carrots in there basically. That's actually mince from a tin. I know you can buy mince and do that yourself, but I thought I would now have to shift some of these because I'm going to run this step-by-step guide to how I make dumplings. Now, the thing that you should really be doing when you're making dumplings is using your hands. I don't. It makes no difference to me because and if you hear the music in the background, I am playing Ollie Murs' new CD. But anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically put this over there. I need it to hold up somewhere, basically. So hopefully you can basically see me doing my cooking. And what you will need, and there are 3 ingredients for this, although you will need a 4th, but that's water, that comes in, and also just that. I'm going to get a glass, because that glass is going to be my element for my water that I will be needing. Probably about that much, maybe not even that, I don't know yet. Because, it's how we do it right. So simply you got a knife and you got a spoon. These are the 2 things that you probably will need, you will need basically. And first of all, you will need some lard. Now you might be thinking, lard? No suet? No suet in this dumpling. I never ever use suet whatsoever. So basically you will take your bit of lard. That will be about enough, if you can see how much is on that basically. Maybe I will do a little bit extra to that, make it a bit extra. So there's basically your lard. Then you will need to get this is called a baking trap, or you could use margarine, butter, whatever you have at handy. You will take a good chunk of this, so in my case I'm going to take that much. It might seem a lot, but that's basically how much you will need. I don't actually have any set recipe for this. I don't know how much grams or anything like that. I will use a little bit more. I never have a set amount of grams on that one because basically this is how I've always done it. Get that up there. And then you are going to get your self-raising flour. So in my case, I'm going to check first to see how much I need. You would normally break this butter up, and obviously the lard, which would probably make it easier to work with. Use it softens, so it's easier. Or you can basically melt it up in the microwave. I don't suppose it matters, because you're going to be using it anyway. So first things first, I'm going to say I'm going to do 8 spoonfuls of this. So there's 2, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and number 8. So you should have in your bowl your lard, your flour, and your baking fat, or basically butter or margarine. This is something to say baking fat. I'm sure you could use just the baking fat without basically using the lard, but we always use lard and butter or flour. And what you all need to do is, first of all, you usually have to use your hands on this one, but I use a spoon, so I will use a spoon and I mix it around a bit. I just basically dip my spoon, and where the butter and margarine is, I break it up like that. Basically, I'm doing that so that it will work itself in with the flour. That's the important thing that you've got to do. You've got to work it in with that flour. So obviously that's something you've got to basically do. Now in this process it might take a little bit longer because you're not using your hands as you would do. You're not rubbing it in with your hands, but to me it doesn't matter. This doesn't really take any less much longer. And that, if you feel that it's going onto your spoon, you know, you can even use a fork, because you can fork it in like that. Another way of doing it like that, but however way you will do it, you will probably use your hands. I just don't really want to use my hands. Never do. Never do. It makes no difference to me, as I said, because I've always done it like this. I've always used a spoon, and they've always turned out well. So I suppose in a way, you don't have to be the traditional man or do it the traditional way. I'm not doing it the traditional way because this has got no suet in it. My mum got this recipe off her mum, which would be my gran, and I've always made dumplings this way. So if you think it's wrong, or I don't know, then tell me. But try it this way. You might be pleasantly surprised and think it tastes okay. So basically you're going to start to mix it up. You're going to start to hopefully break it up a bit so that all the butter and the lard basically becomes engrossed with the flour and that. So once you see that, you're going to start to see the fact that the flour, that it's going to start to form sort of crumbs and sort of stuff like that. Almost as if you were making a crumbly mix, or maybe a pastry. You can make a pastry with it. You could. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, in my opinion. I'm not saying it has to be totally perfect, so you might see big blobs as well as whatever, so it's not going to be that perfect. Once you have done that, you will need to take your water, cold water usually, and pour in as much as desired. In my opinion, I've used all of it. Right? And then you will start to mix it in. Making sure that it's all been put in nicely. You've got your flour and you mix it in. This is the process that may be harder because it's obviously not going to be an easier mix to mix around. Not if you're making Yorkshire pudding or anything, but you basically get your spoon and you mix it around, making sure that it's all mixed in well. The flour, obviously, does its job. Now, if you feel it's too wet, or you put too much water in it, and you feel that it's not going to be the consistency that you want, you will then start to add a little bit more flour. In my instance, I think I've got the right consistency for this. Or, if you feel that the consistency is not right, then you may well add a little bit more water. Almost as if when you're doing this, it could almost be a bit sticky. That's partly what you're going to be aiming for a bit. So it's going to be kind of a sticky thing, basically. That's what you're looking for, and we don't want it to go over the glass or anywhere else. Right, once you have your desired dumpling mix ready, it looks pretty, but it will be fine, trust me. The next stage, now normally when I do mine, I do a blob. So what I do is I take a blob like that, a blob, and I place it in the middle of my mix, my casserole basically, my steak and gravy, like that, a little bit more, and then what you will do is you will cook that basically until it's cooked. And the secret is when you're doing it, basically what you've got to do is when you're cooking it, you will basically check in the middle to see if it's cooked in the middle. So it might cook on the top, it might brown nice on the top, but you have to make sure it's all cooked in the middle. However, when I do mum and dad, I like to do theirs in a bowl. This is where you are going to get your hands a little bit messy. By rolling it into a simple shaped ball. It can be as big or little as you want it to be, and it simply plops into your desired thing that you're going to be cooking it with, basically. My dad will have two because he doesn't want a lot, so he has two balls. My mum will have usually about six nice balls like that. And again, same principle, you will cook them until you basically know they are cooked. It is as simple as that. Once you know they are cooked, and you stab them in the middle to see if they are basically cooked, then you can move on to, then you can be ready to serve. That is very, very simple. So, there you go. That's basically how I'm making dumplings. Like I said, it's my way of doing it. I've been taught this way for a long time. In this instance, I'm going to make mum 4 dumplings because you will get a fair bit. So, and with this, depending on whether you're doing it in a big blob or you're doing things like this, you can get like so many little dumplings out of this. So I'm going to leave it there. And keep tuned in, and hopefully I'll have some more videos up soon. Bye for now.